Hello, and welcome to Look Up Tonight. If you've been watching the shows over the last 7 months or so, you'll be familiar with the usual format. These shows feature highlights from the club's public monthly meetings that are held at Chapman University. Ordinarily, we try to squeeze the entire meeting, which lasts for between 1.5 and 2 hours, down to just one 30-minute show. The result is that we end up cutting out a lot of very interesting content from our presenters. So this time, we're going to produce the show in 2 separate 30-minute programs. The first show will be featuring the incredible and talented What's Up presentation by Chris Butler. And the second 30-minute show will then feature our main presentation, which tonight is titled Magnificent Mars by Ken Croswell. This is the first 30-minute show featuring the OCA's very own Chris Butler. And this month, Chris's presentation is a little different than usual. If you've seen one of Chris's What's Up presentations before, you'll know that his section of the meeting is very much appreciated by the audience. Chris's approach is both entertaining and informative. Well, through a number of technical and personal challenges, Chris was unable to prepare his usual multimedia extravaganza. But don't worry, as you'll see that Chris's immense knowledge of astronomy and his sharp wit produced another fabulous presentation. Here is Chris Butler.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't phrase that right. My brand new computer died. And they sent me out a new hard drive, and my brand new hard drive died. They're sending me a brand new computer. So that's good, but it ain't here yet. And the IMAX movie I'm working on doubled my workload. They like my stuff. That's good. But my computer's dead. So I've had to go to Hollywood every single day and work on the film. Okay, that's fine. I had all of this planned nicely, and then my daughter developed a fever. My daughter has been sick on and off. My wife has used all of her time, sick time, and so today I had one day to prepare the What's Up. And I sat down to do it on my dad's computer, and then my daughter ran another fever. And so I had to pull her out of daycare today. So you know what the What's Up is today? It's that little board back there. The whole day I was just thinking, what's the worst that could happen? There just wouldn't be one. There isn't. So now that I'm through all that stress, tonight's presentation will be a dramatic reading from this month's telescope. I have been threatening for so long that if all the technology failed, we would use the chalkboard, or I would draw it out in my own blood on the floor. But we haven't gone quite to that extremity. We do, in fact, actually have a little bit of a What's Up. Actually, when you think about it, Christmas being so over-commercialized, it is kind of nice every once in a while to get down to the actual reality, bare facts of the thing, because it has, in recent years, gotten to be a little bit about the graphics or the humor. No humor in tonight's presentation. Hey, there was no time. This also is another one of those highly paid positions OCA has. So yeah, you're going to get your money's worth tonight, folks. But thank you. She's a big help. Elect her again, please. Who you running against? You're going to put my name in for president. There are going to be some changes around here. Trust me. The actual facts of the matter are always pretty straightforward and simple as far as astronomy. All of these things can be recited and learned very quickly by looking at a fine publication such as this very one. Let's go through a couple of the basic things from my script for tonight's presentation. One of them, which is absolute, by the way, no, we're not doing our PPO and selection for this month. One of the absolute bare bones things that people like to know is when the full moon is. Now, this astonishes most people who are not avid astronomers because for them, they assume astronomers really want to go out and look at that beautiful full moon, right? The only member of this club who likes looking at the beautiful full moon is, in fact, my daughter. okay, who is very excited about the moon. I told you, she says, moo, moo, and points it out every time she spots it. I should warn you that the full moon has already happened, and the moon was full on the 8th, which is cool. That's fine. It means that the moon now is headed towards third quarter, where we have half of the moon lit, and this will occur on the 16th. This means that the moon rises round about midnight or so and is highest at dawn. This means it's going to be up sufficiently late that it isn't going to blind you. When the moon is out, it's harder to see the faint stuff that the people who bought the big telescopes and have had to call 1-800 fire or whatever else to save their house because of the telescope, they can still see the faint stuff if the moon is not around. Now, dark of the moon is going to be happening on the 23rd, okay? So we can make a totally blacked out moon here for the 23rd of this month. And that is fine and dandy. We can't see the moon. That gives you your darkest observing. Now, it so happens this is a good time of year for darkness because, as you all know, we have the winter solstice about to happen, right? What does this mean? This means everybody rips off their clothes and bangs tambourines, right? Half the college students in the back are frightened and leaving. Half have now just decided to stay, right? No, we don't really do that. Sorry. This is actually when we have the longest of all of our nights, the shortest of our days. If you're really concerned, it does happen at 2:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, December 22nd, for those of you who mark such things. The night, or the day, the shortest day, says 9 hours and 20 minutes at 40 degrees north. And December 8th, by the way, is the earliest sunset. So all of these weird and unusual facts, some of which frankly confuse me, but they're on the paper, they must be true, I am happy to relate. Now this month we'll round out with the moon coming back around, being in the evening sky. We'll get to our first quarter moon when it's back well placed for convenient evening viewing on the 30th of this month. Now, one of the planets you definitely want to have a look at right now is Mercury. Mercury is doing an evening apparition. To explain very quickly what's up with that, Mercury being an inside planet makes, of course, its circle around the sun. And, of course, when it's back here behind the sun or in front of the sun, seen from the Earth, lousy time to look at it, right? That will turn your retina into strips of Canadian bacon. That's not going to work for you. What you want to do is you want to catch it when it's out here, about as far away from the sun can be so that the sun can go down before Mercury does, or Mercury can rise before the sun. I don't do the morning apparitions, okay? They happen what we call very, very early, okay, in the morning, and I'm not up for those. Maybe you are. But right now, Mercury's kind of over on this side. The sun goes down first. I should point out that not all of these apparitions are equal. Because of the seasons, the angle of a planet's orbit to our horizon rocks back and forth. This is due to the Earth's own tilt that the Earth has, that 23-degree tilt all of the school globes have. And what this does to you, it means that when a planet is going to be following the sun down, it may either have that loopy little orbit that it's got look like this above the horizon, or it may look like this. Now, Mercury always swings out about 26 odd degrees or whatever away from the sun, but if it does it at a time like this, and the sun is here, and they're going down this away across the sky, it means that when it's dark, Mercury will still not be very high. This is a pretty good apparition of Mercury we have right now. So in the evenings, if you want to have a look for little Mercury, it is out there. But what you need to do is just let the sun go down, let the sky start to get dark, and you got a really good shot at seeing Mercury. Now, the other thing that you've noticed out there in the west is, of course, Venus. After the sun goes down, Venus has been doing one of those trips around the sun, of course. It has been crawling out from behind the sun, swinging higher and higher in the sky in the evening now. It is very obvious now. It will be with us for many months. In fact, it will not be at its best until late March. So Venus is only going to get more and more and more spectacular. It does not, however, look spectacular in a telescope. Anybody ever look at Venus expecting to see something really cool with your telescope? That's enough to make you want to send your telescope back to the same place I sent my computer back to, okay? Because it's a ping pong ball. It is absolutely covered with white clouds. Now, when it's back behind the sun, we're looking at the lit side of it. Not only is it small, but it's almost entirely lit. When it emerges from back behind the sun, it is a tiny, perfectly round dot. And that's it, folks. It's bright, it's easy to see with your eyes, but not much with a telescope. However, when it swings around back towards us on this side of the orbit, it eventually becomes a crescent because we're looking mostly at the night side. It's already exhibiting, number one, some growth. It's getting bigger in your telescope now, a little bit. It's also beginning to show some of that phase. We're seeing a bite of darkness taken out of the side of Venus. This is an early warning sign for you that Venus is going through those changes. You know, Venus, women, changes. This is unrehearsed. All of it. In fact, some of it is already regretted. But it is going on in the evening sky. Now, Mars, of course, as we know, is the only planet that has existed for at least the last 7-8 months of people's lives. Yes, it's still there. Yes, you can still see it. It's right now crossing 0 magnitude. It starts out in the negatives and goes to the pluses for you folks who care about such things. It is easy to see, but nowhere near as bright as Venus is off in the sunset. It is definitely continuing to shrink. Last month, it was borderline interesting in a telescope. This month, if you think it's interesting in a telescope, there's something wrong with you, okay? Because it's gone from 11 arc seconds down to 8.4 by the end of this month. It is a small, small world, and this thing is on its way out. So don't expect much from it visually, just notice it's still up there fairly high as the sky gets dark. Jupiter is beginning to be quite an attraction right now. Jupiter's rising about 11 p.m. mid-month, but it's not going to be its absolute best until March 3rd or so. So Jupiter, brighter than Mars now, will be rising over in the east about 11. You're definitely going to notice that. Now, before Jupiter comes up, we've got the star attraction, so to speak, for this month, which is the planet Saturn. Thank God it's around this Christmas, so little Timmy won't cry with the telescope, right? It's the thing everybody wants to see. Can you imagine if it was behind the sun at Christmas, explaining that to little Susie with her little telescope? Okay, it's beautiful. And Saturn actually will be at its best on December 31st, which I know some New Age millennial apocalyptic idiot is going to make a lot out of, but it's just a coincidence. But the end of this year, it's perfect. It's highest at midnight. It will, however, be rising just as the sky gets dark. In fact, Saturn clears your eastern horizon about 5 p.m., 5:50 p.m. mid-month. So it is definitely naked eye visible. It is an addition to the stars of Gemini. Neptune and Uranus both set pretty early, 8:20 for Neptune, 9:50 for Uranus. They're back over in the general vicinity of Mars. They go down pretty quickly. They're not well placed. Don't look at them. There's a small fine involved. As far as Pluto, Pluto is really back behind the sun now. It can be seen in the morning if you really, really want to acknowledge that you've gone too far in the hobby. The Geminid meteor shower, first time that the What's Up completely falls apart, I will finally mention a meteor shower, because I had to. It was in the book. It happens on December 14th and peaks at about in the morning hours of December 14th. We've got the Geminids. I've already talked about the solstice, so let me just say one or two words now about constellations, deep space stuff, star stuff. This is the prettiest star field that we get from Southern California on nights like this when there isn't that intervening water vapor layer that you and I have noticed recently. The wintertime stars are spectacular. They are magnificent outside of a trip to Australia. This, in many ways, for your eyes, is the best it gets. So when we do get the dark of the moon, it would be a wonderful time to get out there right around Christmas time and really appreciate some beautiful stars. I don't know what it is about the winter stars that makes me feel like they're more of a discovery. Probably because it's so cold by California standards, right? You actually can't wear shorts. It's that cold. Seriously. Try it. Yeah, something will shrivel. But to make that kind of sacrifice and discover these things makes it seem like you've climbed Mount Everest to get a look at these things, right? Whereas in the summer, you're just kind of out by the pool, you're floating on your back, you got a couple margaritas in you. Oh yeah, there's Scorpius, right? That's easy. But the wintertime stars you really have to work at. Now, one thing I will mention, leading off the winter stars, clearing the horizon first, we've mentioned the Pleiades star cluster, the famous Seven Sisters. This is a lovingly hand-painted chart, which will be auctioned later, by the way. And on this thing, looking roughly east about 7:30 p.m. at this time of year, this little clump up here, this is the Pleiades. So the sky's just gotten dark. The Pleiades, all these things are rising this way in the sky. The Pleiades are well up before these things. Not the Big Dipper, not the Little Dipper. They are just part of the constellation of Taurus, but I have a special attachment to them for two reasons in my mind. One is a story my dad always told me. When he was interested in astronomy, there were no clubs like this where he grew up in rural Missouri, but there was an observatory that some eccentric old man had an Alvin Clark refractor, for those of you who know these things. And when my dad was doing this, it was 1936, okay? 16-year-old kid, and he found the parts from the telescope. They'd been thrown out, and he found these things. Now, he couldn't reconstruct the telescope, no, but he got the lens from the thing, the two lenses, and tacked them onto wooden boxes to hold them in place with nails, and he made a telescope by pushing the pieces of wood back and forth, and in December, in Missouri, he was out there counting the stars of the Pleiades and drawing charts of them as a 16-year-old kid. This is why he got beat up a lot at school, right? And that story always stuck with me. He counted 37 stars in the Pleiades and drew his chart. We don't have the chart anymore, but I still remember the Pleiades that way, and they are a wonderful group. Also fun to learn all their names in the mythology. Also because there's 7 of them. I don't know what it is with NASA's bad luck in the shuttle orbiters, but every time we've lost a crew, we've lost 7. And the night of the Challenger accident, I went out and looked, and the Pleiades were hanging up there with the 7 stars up in the sky like that. It just kind of froze in my mind that it represented the crew. And now, of course, it's 7 times 2, really, in that. So I have kind of an emotional attachment to that. Now, following them is the much less romantic V-shaped group of the marking the face of Taurus, the Ford, which is the Hyades star cluster. Those are the new people who are crowding in. You other guys going, last 15 times it was funny, Chris. But that V-shaped group, you can see that's another star cluster. This big pentagon up here, where they have all, these are all contracts that have been issued from the Pentagon. Teasing. But marked by a very bright star called Capella, the brightest first star of the winter sky to rise. A wonderful area to play around up in this constellation of Auriga, the chariot driver. A whole string of star clusters is what that actually is, many of them visible in binoculars. Following these up into the sky are 2 spectacular patterns. One of them I should mention is marked by these 2 twin bright stars. The 2 stars mark the heads of Castor and Pollux, the twin constellations. That's Gemini, the twins. I call them Jake and Elwood, but whatever you name them, it really does kind of look like 2 guys there. However, this month, you have the addition of this thing here, which is an additional bright star, as bright as either of the 2 head stars, right in the middle of their feet, basically, which is Saturn. You can't miss it. It's almost as bright as anything else in the winter sky. You got Timmy, you got Susie, you got the department store telescope. Nail the bright ones, one after the other. It'd be fun when you hit your 5th one and Timmy finally wakes up and gets his nose out of his Game Boy. You know you've got Saturn, so well placed now. This is the famous constellation of Orion. Of course, Orion, the giant, marked by the star Betelgeuse and Rigel there, Betelgeuse being a red star. I've said it a million times, Betelgeuse is not correct. Most of the English pronunciations of the Arabic phrases are badly mangled. The British say Nicaragua, okay, and Jaguar, and aluminium. This is no exception, okay? I think the proper Arabic is close to Ayip al-Hawza. I'm not kidding, and I swear to God, it sounds so exotic, but it means armpit of the giant. I'm not kidding. A lot of these names, it's like, no, the foot, the nose, the booger, whatever. The most important thing is these 3 stars in a row in the middle of Orion mark the belt, and that's very easy to spot with your eyes or binoculars. It's very distinctive, easy to spot. If you've got that telescope right below the belt in what we will charitably call a sword, down in here is this square here. That marks the Great Orion Nebula, one of the real discoveries of the sky. No picture I could ever show you does the thing justice. Photographs don't do the thing justice because film picks up light differently than your eyes. On film, it's this big, gaudy, pink and red and white, knock your eyes out, hit you with a ball-peen hammer between the eyes kind of a thing. But to your eyeballs, it is a softly glowing blue-green rose, a ghostly rose. And in the middle of all the petals, 4 brilliant blue-white stars set like gems at the center of the flower. To your eyes, it is much, much prettier than any photograph I have personally ever seen. My own opinion here, but as an artist, I need to believe that eyeballs still have a place in this universe. Right over in here, if you've got big telescopes and you've got some spare time, just go a little bit to the east of Orion. You'll find the Rosette Nebula, not spectacular to eyes and telescopes or binoculars, but a wonderful target for photography. Following those and hearkening forward to a time when we will come back and talk more about what's coming is the brilliant star Sirius, the brightest of all the nighttime stars, the star of the Nile, the one that the Egyptians worship, comes leaping over the horizon, blazing away brighter than any of the stars, although not all the planets, joined by its cousin Procyon. Procyon marking, of course, the position of Helen Mahoney's dog, which is named Procyon. I'm not kidding. He used to be a puppy. Now he's a Canis Major, trust me. Yeah, you can laugh. You don't have to feed that beast. So Procyon there marks the little dog. Canis Major, the big dog, marked by Sirius. All of these things are coming up. Now, the winter sky is an amazing and wonderful time. I want to leave you with a Christmas thought here, because what every astronomer really wants for Christmas is not the new big telescope. The particular joy of astronomers is that we are incredibly cheap people. We have, actually, it's not the most expensive hobby in the universe. It is, in fact, the least expensive hobby, because what we really want every year is the next set of stars to come up again, just the way they did the last time, and to have all the constellations in their parade leaping all their wonderful objects for winter to come back next year and the stars to be there. And of course, they will. Once you get interested in this hobby, you're into it, you have these binoculars, your eyeballs, however you learn to enjoy these things, just think how cheap it will be, because every Christmas, these stars will be waiting for you over your Christmas tree. Now, folks, for a highly improvised What's Up, I don't think that's all too bad, but I'm certainly going to run the heck out of here before I have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much to Chris for another fantastic presentation on the night sky. And don't forget, if you've been lucky enough to get a new telescope, perhaps even your first ever telescope, over the holiday season, now is just about the best time to view the planet Saturn. As Chris already mentioned, Saturn is really easy to find right now, hanging out there in Gemini. So do go looking for it. You will not be disappointed. Now, time for a short interlude. It looks like we have time enough for a short video presentation produced by the astronomers at Certif Science Center of Caltech JPL. The astronomers there often get interesting questions from the public, and this is the answer to one of those questions. Enjoy!
Ask an astronomer. How do stars live and die?
The way stars live and die makes a lot of sense if you consider what a star really is. Simply put, a star is a large amount of gas and dust that is collapsing under the force of gravity. At first, this crush of gravity makes the inside of the star hot enough to ignite a nuclear explosion. This explosion supports the star against gravity